So today I would like to talk about the topic of observation of the warm-tongue circulation in the northern East China Sea. So why should we care the northern East China Sea? Because it's located between the open Pacific and the neighboring marginal sea, such as the Yellow Sea and the northern East China Sea and the Korea coastal waters. So it's a center that exchange heat and the material by current. And next, what is the thermal highlight front? In oceanography, the front means the boundary of two different water masses. So then the word thermal highlight means the temperature and salinity. So the thermal highlight front is mean the boundary of temperature and salinity between two water masses. And what is the geostrophic current? In brief, geostrophic current is the result after the pressure gradient force and the Coriolis force were balanced, and the direction of the geostrophic current will be right in the north hemisphere. And there is the map of the currents in the northern East China Sea. You can see there is the Korea coastal current and the China coastal current and the East China Sea currents. They all transport the low salinity and low temperature southward. And there has the few warm currents such as the Yellow Sea warm current and the Jeju warm current. They all are branches of the Tsushima warm current, and they both transport the high salinity and high temperature northward. And so based on the concept of the thermal highlight front we have mentioned before, the cold current and the warm current converge in northern East China Sea will form the strong frontal structure. So the name of this frontal is Jeju Yangtze Front, and we will refer as the CYF as the red dash line shows. And the structure of the CYF can be divided into the warm tongue and the cold tongue. And the warm tongue can also be divided into the northern front and the southern front. The northern front is along the 34-degree north latitude, and the southern front, which we will focus on today, is the northwest and southeast direction and located as the black solid line. And the frontal circulation pattern of the southern front, based on the previous study, we can know it consists with the TC, the westward transversal currents here, and the SO, the southeastward outflow here. And so the purpose of this study is analyze the structure of the southern front, because there has many studies has examined the northern front, and we will identify relevant frontal based on in situ data and historical data and satellite altimetry derived sea surface height. And here is our method: the in situ data by CTD and the satellite data and the past 58 years historical data and the APCP. So here has the it should be 3, but I don't know why, because 2 becomes 2. The surface cyclone circulation pattern is only found in February, while not in April during both years. Sorry. First of all, we will talk about the alternate intruding frontal structure in lower layer were observed during 2 seasons. And secondly, the surface cyclonic circulation pattern is only found in February, well, not in April. And final is the near-bottom cyclonic circulation in the southern front of the warm tongue was newly found in both seasons. So before talking about the detail of the alternate intruding frontal structure, we should define the standard of the high value and low value and the composition of the frontal structure. And so the composition of these frontal structure is high temperature and high salinity water from yellow seaworm currents and the low temperature and low salinity water from the East China Sea current. As here and here, they converge in the North and East China Sea. And so the boundary of the low and high of temperature is 11.5 degrees Celsius and of temperature and 33.4 gram per kilogram of salinity. But in historical data, it becomes the 33.7 gram per kilogram. And so the left panel is the in situation data observed at February, and the right panel is the historical data of February during past 58 years. And so the color is temperature and the contours means the salinity, and you can see the red thin solid line. It represents the 11.5 degrees Celsius of the temperature contour. And so we have marked the low temperature and low salinity water location as the blue solid line shows. And here, these slides are same as the previous slide, but the difference is we mark the high temperature and high salinity water. Yeah. So the combination of the previous 2 slides is as here. So we can clearly see there has the intruding frontal structure of whole water column in February. But in April, the color is temperature and the contour is salinity, and this thin red line is the 11.5 degrees Celsius of temperature contour, and the low salinity water and low temperature water from the East China Sea currents are located here and here. The high salinity water and high temperature water are located here from the yellow seaworm currents, and there is their combination. You can see you cannot see the intruding frontal structure of whole water column, but you can see it's at the lower layer. Yeah. So the first discussion is checked, and let's move on the surface cyclonic circulation. And this is the map of the surface geostrophic currents as the back arrow shows, and the left panel is observed at February, the right panel is observed at April. And you can clearly see there has a circulation here, but you cannot find in April. So this is annual mean of surface geostrophic currents, and you cannot find the surface cyclonic circulation around here. And you cannot find the surface cyclonic circulation, but you can clearly see the cyclonic circulation around here and here. So the second discussion is checked. The surface cyclonic circulation pattern is only found in February, well, not in April or annual mean during both years. So we have left the near bottom cyclonic circulation. So here, this figure is the map of the surface geostrophic currents. And the red arrow is the in situ data. We can clearly see the near-bottom cyclonic circulation even from the map of the surface geotonic current, and it including the TC, the westward transversal current, and the SO, the southeastward outflow. And although the Longchang is retreat eastward, we can also observe the near-bottom cyclonic circulation at the lower depth, as the red arrow shows. And based on the previous slide, we made the schematics of the near-bottom cyclonic circulation as of the winter and spring. So all the discussion are checked. And to summarize, in April, the alternate intruding frontal structure produced by the cyclonic circulation are still maintained, and the cyclonic circulation is clear from whole water columns in February, isn't at outer layer in April, so that's why we name it near bottom, or we can call it semi-permanently. Thanks for listening.
I think she explained the how with the simple concept, but some concept is still complicated, and she has too many content that makes me confused.
I think she's very nervous, and because her activity might be have some strange place, but she adds some nice graph to explain her talk. I think that's great because she have to explain a complex talk, and she have a great result in that result page.
Okay.
I think your phenomena explain your phenomena with picture is very good, and you talk slowly enough compared to last time, but I think some slide in result and conclusion were displayed in a flash, so I can see the details clearly.
Jessie adds a lot of pictures to explain the slides this time, and she also adds animation marks to help audience understand the currents. Besides, I like her intonation, and besides from that, I think she explained the difficult words very well, and which help the people isn't in the physical oceanographies to understand those difficult words better.